Weeknights on MeTV.
Ta-da.
Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak.
Well, it sounds like music to my ear.
On MeTV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Crocker! Crocker! Crocker!
Kojak!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas is Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on MeTV.
Who loves you?
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me here on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. Today, on the air, off the presses, my pleasure to have in the studio, John Broeske and Jennifer Lipp. And she's not going to take any lip. Oh, like she's never heard that before. Back in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And of course, it is on the air, off the presses. And on this day, we've got two members of the KMJ Radio News staff on, John Broeske, an on-air talent, along with Jennifer Lipp. It's the John and Jen Show on KMJ. Now, you might remember when KMJ totally reformatted their programming in, I believe, January, when Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity went to the other station, they had to come up with some new programming. And they did. They came up with the John and Jen Show. In fact, I listened to it on the way to work each and every day, and they do a great job. And so they're in the studio today. But I had a chance to go to KMJ and visit them during their radio program. Here's a little bit of a clip of the John and Jen Show on KMJ News Radio 580.
You're right. You know what's so funny? I remember having this discussion with my sister who lives in New Jersey a while back. There was a big jackpot on the line. And I said, well, it was some ridiculous, like $100 million, which remember when that used to be a lot of money? So it was $100 million, say, and I said, well, right off the top, I would give each of my family, each of my siblings, $5 million. And she said, oh, I wouldn't do that. And I said, well, why wouldn't you do that? And she said, well, because you didn't earn it. You're just my sister.
Right.
What are you going to do with all that money? She said, well, I haven't decided yet, but I'm not just going to hand it out to my family.
Okay, so, but you say you would.
I would, and maybe I'm ruining their lives.
I know, but you just said you're worried about your children, but you're not worried about your siblings.
I feel like Brewster's Millions. At this point, I have to get rid of the money.
Get a private jet.
Private jet and a tour guide.
Tour guide?
Yeah.
So you're obviously going to stay in a top-notch hotel,
First class
penthouse.
all the way.
All the way?
Yes.
How much are you going to spend on this trip, do you think?
Oh, if I spend less than $100,000, I'm doing it wrong.
Okay, for just 2 weeks.
For just 2 weeks.
Now, you're working here.
Yes.
Now, would you come back and work?
I absolutely would.
You would?
Yes.
Because you like this.
I really do.
And you realize that without this, the money's going to wear off at some point, right?
Yes.
See, what I've always said, the best thing I could do for the people around me would be to take 6 months off. Because you're not going to want to be around me for 6 months.
And live in our studio now, of course, is Jennifer Lipp and John Broeske. John is a return guest. He's been here a couple of times, but a first-time appearance by Jennifer Lipp. They are on KMJ from 9 a.m. until 11, and then it's Ray Appleton after that. We're going to talk to them about all sorts of things, like the garbage issue that's coming up. That's Measure G, all sorts of other things, maybe their pet peeves. And we'll talk about the radio show and how they actually got started with this, and a little bit about their careers. It is a special edition of Connect with Me here on Comcast, Channel 187 and 43.6. We're back in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
all sorts of things going on. And so from 9 to 11 o'clock, you can listen to the John and Jen show on KMJ. Hey, tune us in as well at 10:30 at the simulcast, right? At the same time. Have the TV on and the radio on and listen to John and Jen. Hey, what a clever idea. But I listen to you two on the way to work every morning. Jennifer, good to meet you.
The pleasure
First time.
Mine.
Thank you for coming in. It's my pleasure. John, good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, great to have you back here. So, this show came about because Limbaugh and Hannity left, and you had to kind of revamp and come to a new meeting of the minds at KMJ, right?
Right.
How did all that happen? How did all that go down?
Well, I'll tell you my side, and Jennifer can tell you her side.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
Maybe they'll be the same. But I was filling in for Ray in December, and Skip said, I would like you to work with Jennifer.
Skip Essig,
Skip Essig, our program director, said, I would like you to do a show with Jennifer. And I said, no problem. You know, so we did a show. And I wasn't even really thinking at the time about where this would lead. I was just filling in for Ray and welcome to work with Jennifer. And then, you know, Skip, I guess, it must have had an ulterior plan all along, right? And so he just said, hey, I like that show. Would you consider working with Jennifer for the 2-hour show? And I said, yeah. You know, and I guess he had the same conversation with you.
Yeah, it was pretty similar. When we heard the stations were going to be changing slightly, I do an FM morning show as well, 6 to 8 a.m., just on the FM side.
2 hours by yourself?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
it's just a morning show. 1059 FM KMJ.
Okay.
And so I'd been doing that since September. And when I heard that Glenn Beck was also leaving, he was part of the KMJ family at the time, my first question to Skip was, hey, will I get an extra hour? I was just kind of hoping to go, you know, 6 to 9. And he said, well, we're thinking about some things. And then I didn't really hear anything for a while. And then it was much like John just said. He was filling in for Ray, and Skip came in and said, no, you just got off the air. You want to go do a little bit of showtime with John Broeske? I said, sure. You know, it was funny because we didn't know each other that well, but we, you know, spent a little time on Facebook here and there, a couple of messages
each other
here
in the hallway.
and so we sat in, and it was comfortable. It felt good. It was I like John anyway, so I'd been listening to him. I was very familiar with how he is and his style, and I loved that. And so we did another show. We did a second show. And then right after that, Skip said, hey, I really like the way you two sound. What do you think about that? I said, I love the idea. So there it was.
So you hear this very much a cliche, but I guess there's chemistry. Am I right?
Well, I think we didn't have any trouble. The very first show, it just went smooth.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I don't think that would be true with everybody. I don't know. We just didn't have any. It was just seamless from the very beginning. It just was easy.
Effortless.
Effortless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Well, you know, for many years, John Broeske, many of you may or may not know this, he was the driving force behind the Ray Appleton show. There's no question about it. I mean, you were, John. Let's not be bashful about it. And, you know, whenever you filled in for Ray, I wanted to listen to him more than I did Ray. I mean, I don't know why, but he's a very witty guy.
Well, a lot of people think they sound alike as well. So there's that confusion. We sometimes get that confusion on the show. Somebody will call up and say, well, hey, Ray, as I was just telling your screener, Ray. You know,
right. And when I filled in for Ray, I got a lot of that. People just say, hey, Ray, I agree with you. And I'm like, okay, well, then if you agree with me, I'm John.
All kidding aside, though, I mean, John, I like the way, and I've listened to you too, but I like the way both of you, specifically John too, the way that you take an issue, let's say the water issue, I'm just using that as an example, how are you able to put things at a moment's notice into total perspective? That's what I like about this guy.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's so funny that you say that. Did I not just tell you this in the studio this morning?
You were very complimentary.
Well, it's true. You know,
Am I right? Am I right on about it?
No, you're exactly right. It's so funny because a lot of people are upset about the water issue in the valley.
Yeah.
But John manages to put it so succinctly. I mean, the way he said it today was Sacramento has a problem where they're pumping their sewage into the water, and while they have the next 8 years, is it still, to fix it, they get to continue doing that. In the meantime, in Fresno, we have a problem, and they've shut off the pumps in the meantime before the tunnels are being built. And as he put it, we're not asking for more than anybody else has, just the same treatment.
Wait a minute, why is Sacramento pumping sewage into their water? What's up with that?
Well, they've been doing this for years. You know, it's not untreated sewage, it's treated, but it's in the form of ammonia. And it's 1 million gallons a day going to the Sacramento River, which flows into the Delta. Also, their pharmaceuticals, you know, all the E. coli stuff that's not filtered out with the ammonia process. They've been ordered to clean it up.
How does that affect us?
Well, all that water goes into the delta, and that's the water our farmers get, which is not so bad if you're irrigating a farm. It's also the drinking water for 20 million people in Southern California. So they're the ones that should be upset about it. But we're upset because it also harms the delta. It harms the plant life in the delta. It kills smelt more than our pumps do. But nevertheless, they get to keep doing this, and no harm to them. I mean, they're in order to clean up, they get 8 years. That was my point. They get 8 years. Let us have our water for 8 years. I just want the same rules, right?
Right.
Well, they dump the sewage, we get penalized. They dump the sewage, they cut off our water. Cut off their water, right?
Right.
You know?
You see, that's what I'm talking. He puts everything in perspective.
Exactly.
But didn't Oliver Wanger, he's the judge, right? Didn't he order the pumps back on at one point when he was still a judge?
He made the decision that you have to consider people as well as the environment.
Right.
People are environment too. We're all part of nature.
Yeah.
It's not like we're separate and there's nature. We're all part of nature. Oliver Wanger said you must consider impacts on people, but that didn't open up the pumps. We still have restrictions. We lost 800,000 acre-feet of water this year, which we really could have desperately used.
Where'd all that water go? Out into the ocean?
To the Pacific.
Jeez.
And it wasn't like we had no place to put it. We had places to put it, but it just couldn't be pumped because of the smelt.
Yeah. Why do we have such a complex water system for California, specifically the Central Valley? We feed the world, I assume we do.
Because the environmentalists run the state?
The environmentalists are attacking water everywhere there is water. They're trying to cut it off. They're trying to restore rivers. We lost 200,000 acre-feet with the river restoration. The deal was made. Farmers agreed to river restoration because the water was supposed to go to the delta, then be pumped back into the system. But when they shut off the pumps, it couldn't be pumped back, so we lost 200,000 acre-feet there.
And they shut off the pumps because of the smelt,
Because of the
right?
smelt. See,
Yeah.
when you kill a certain number of smelt in the pumps, which is a very low number, like 200, you have to shut them off. And if you hit like 300, you have to shut them off for good. So they keep tracks of these numbers and they shut them off. There's also salmon restrictions. There's restrictions of some kind almost every month of the year.
It's amazing. Anyway, we got to take a break. We're talking with Jennifer Lipp and John Broeske of KMJ News Radio 580. Of course, it's the John and Jen Show from 9 a.m. until 11, Monday through Friday, each and every day. We're back with our special edition of Connect with Me on the air and off the presses in just a moment.
And now, the Alan Brady Show.
Hi, I'm Alan Brady. You remember me from the Alan Brady Show?
Yes, if Alan needs any help. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir. Shut up, Mel. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir.
I had the best TV writers on my show. Rob Petrie, Sally Rogers,
Hey, I got it. Don't anybody move.
and Buddy Sorrell.
Whoa. Hey, you moved. I forgot it.
On the Dick Van Dyke Show here,
Alan, if you're...
Shut Up Mel, on Me TV.
Weeknights at 9:30, 8:30 Central on Me TV.
What's the matter with you?
On the air, off the presses on this day with John and Jen. It's John Broeske and Jennifer Lipp of KMJ. Quickly, before we move on to other things, so just so we know, the majority of the water that we use here in the Central Valley, John and Jen, that our farmers use and that we use for drinking water, where does that water come from? Does it come from Millerton Lake? Does it come from the Kings River? How does it get to us?
Well, the west side is where you hear a lot about Westland's Water District.
Yeah.
That's all coming from the delta.
Okay.
But you also have the east side, which is Friant, Kern Canal, and the San Joaquin River. So, like City of Fresno mostly pumps their water from underground, but they get some water out of the east side system too. But mainly those two systems.
Okay.
Friant, then you have Pine Flat.
But it's a complex system that's set up where the water goes through canals, through this place, through that place, before it reaches us, right?
Yeah, and we have a pretty good infrastructure in place to service everybody who needs water.
Right.
The problem we have with our water system is not the infrastructure, it's the human decisions, right?
Yeah.
The infrastructure is there to deliver it where it needs to go. The water is there. There's 800,000 acre-feet of water sitting in the Pacific that could have been sitting in the San Luis Reservoir.
And we're short on water this year.
We're getting 20% over on the west side. That water could have been in the system, and those people could be getting 40 or 50%.
It's amazing. And although the farmers get their water from Sacramento.
From the
Delta. From the Delta.
Right.
Yeah.
On the west side. The east side farmers get it out of Friant,
Yeah.
out of Pine Flat, and up in Modesto out of Lake McClure. And So we got dams all along the east side that service farmers as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about your career a little bit. Get into that. Jennifer, how did you start in broadcasting?
Well, a long, long time ago. Actually, I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and I went to Buffalo State for college because I heard they had a really good radio station and radio program, and so I went there and ended up working in radio there, a rock station and a news station, oddly enough, news talker. And I was actually a semester shy of graduating when a job opened up here in Fresno, KRZR, the rock station at the time. And I figured, well, I can either finish and hope for a paper hat and a name tag when I'm done, or go chase my career right now. So I packed up a truck and moved 3,000 miles across the country.
So but you got 3 kids. You got a husband. Your husband did not mind you moving across the country. Did you know your husband at the time?
No, I met him here.
You met him here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was single, footloose, and fancy free when I came out here.
All right.
And then I did mornings for 12 years, and in the course of that time, I met my husband, and we got married, and had 2 of our children. Yeah, and then I ended up at another rock station, did mornings there, and now I'm at KMJ.
How did you end up at KMJ?
Wow, good luck and very nice people.
Good fortune.
Yeah, it really was right place, right time.
You know, they say you make your own breaks. Is that true, John? I don't know.
I guess. I mean, I applied for every job I ever got.
True story.
But you worked in LA for a while too, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, tell us about that just a little bit.
Well, I was a general manager at KMJ in the late 80s, and a job came open at KABC in Los Angeles as a program director, which would be, you'd think career-wise, seemed like a step down from GM to PD, but I really never liked being general manager. I felt I might as well have been running a shoe store. You know, I wanted to be in radio, not in management, right? So I took this job in LA at KABC. I was program director there, and you know, I was quite an experience. You know, I had the Dodgers and a lot of famous people work on there, and it was kind of neat. But I had one problem, that I didn't get along with my boss. And generally that doesn't work out for the guy that's not the boss.
Right.
So I resigned, and
or were you asked to?
Well, I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you a story. I'll tell you a short story. We had a sports talk show, and they were doing a show, and the general manager didn't like the show. Okay, now I was a PD. I had talked to the guys about the show. We agreed on the show, what it was going to be. They were doing the show they were supposed to be doing. And the general manager, without asking me, went into the producer and asked him to hang up on all the phone lines and not take any more calls on that topic. Okay, now the guys are on the air. They have no idea what's going on. They got full phone lines, and all of a sudden they got nothing. And every time the phone line rings, they hang up on it, right? This is our general manager. And I mean, that was just one of a series of incidents.
That was the beginning of the end, maybe.
That was the middle of the end.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, you've been at KMJ how many years?
Well, I started at KMJ in 1981.
Yeah.
But I left there for a while.
Yeah, and then came back.
Came back.
Came back. So all told, what, about 30
Well, I was
years?
there for from 81 to 2007, so 26 years minus a couple in the middle.
Yeah. How do you guys and girls decide the topics every day? Do you have discussions before you go on the air, or the day before, or what? How does that work out?
Every morning.
Yeah.
You know, Jennifer does her show 6 until 8, and I come in at 8. So she would normally should be a break for her is just more work.
Right. So from 8 to 9, you guys talk.
Right.
We brainstorm.
Brainstorm about guests, about topics.
Yeah. Jennifer generally has her topics. I have my topic. We just kind of throw them in all together. And Skip meets with us as well, our producer. And everybody's got ideas. And we just all go, generally we just go, that sounds like the best thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who thinks of it. It's just like, yeah, I think that's it. And then we go, well, let's figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
What's first? What's second? What's third? And we generally kind of come up with a list. Sometimes it happens right in the studio.
Right.
Right. Just okay. Let's do something else. What? But we know what they are.
We start this way, and then we end up going that way.
But we don't know necessarily what number 2 is going to be. We know we've got 5. But we don't necessarily know which one's going to be number 2. We know which one's going to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then during the course of the show, you kind of mix it in.
Yeah, we take a commercial break and go, what next? But we've got them all. It's not like we're going to make up something brand new, but we're just not necessarily sure which one. It would just be kind of gut feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And a lot of times you'll go with the big story, the Boston Marathon bombings, whatever else, Measure G maybe,
right.
Who knows what. And that's so you figure. Are you guys friends? That's what I want to know. Do you have to be good friends to get along on the air? That's what I've always wondered about a tandem. Now, of course, I anchor the news. I had a co-anchor, and you know, for many years. So I always ask other people this: do you have to be friends to have a good show and be good on the air together?
Well, I've done a couple of team shows.
Yeah.
And I can say I've had every experience from being really good friends to not being very good friends with the person I'm working with. And honestly, I don't think it really has that much to do with what you bring on the air. I mean, John and I like John a lot. We don't really hang out on the weekends or anything, but you know, there's never a day when I walk into work and think, oh God, I got to see John again. You know, I mean, like, I think he's great. So I think as long as as long as you work well together, that's, you know, I think
being professional is probably the right term.
Well,
huh?
I think people in general just try so hard to spread their personal life into their work life and try to make everything this little montage of the world. And I don't know, I'm okay with things being separate to some extent.
How about you? How do you feel about it?
I just think it's professional. You know, I like Jennifer, but she lives in Sanger. I live in Northwest Fresno. We don't go to the same places, you know.
You don't have anything in common outside of work.
She's got 3 kids. I hang out with guys at the Manhattan, right? but I'm with her. I don't think it would be easy if we didn't like each other.
Yeah.
But I like her. It's not
and
a problem.
Respect her.
And I respect her.
And she respects you.
Yeah. And we do the show, but it's professional.
Yeah.
It isn't really about whether we like each other. I don't think it hurts that we do, but I think it would be tough if I was going, oh my God, I got to see Jennifer again.
Exactly.
You know? That would not be fun, right?
No, it would not be good. But you sound great on the air. John and Jen are here. John Broeske, Jennifer Lipp, KMJ, 9 to 11 each morning, Monday through Friday, of course, on KMJ News Radio 580. Back with our guests in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified, ready, steam-equipped, high-efficiency Frigidaire affinity place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Frigidaire laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Back with our show here, John Broeske, Jennifer Lipp of KMJ News Radio 580, of course, on 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. So you guys get along, and you guys sound great. What do you think makes your show work? John, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, I think it's like music radio. The music makes music radio, right?
Yeah.
The topics make talk radio. And so when stuff is really hot and heavy, I mean, I think we're better, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have good stuff going on, I think talk radio works a lot better, and the world we live in, that's not a problem. Right?
I know.
Right?
What about you, Jen?
I think it is a lot. It's the topics, but it's also adaptability. I think one thing we do have in common that we share definitely on air is that knowledge of if this isn't going where it should be going, to be able to switch at a moment's notice and be able to say, okay, we're going to go in this direction from here. And I think that's really important. You know, that sometimes people get stuck on, no, I want this to work. I'm going to make this work. This will work. And we don't do that.
I'm going to ask John this first question because he's been at KMJ for so long. I think you were there when they put the first brick in, I think. That's how long you've been. But okay, this thing with KMJ losing Fresno State and they lost Limbaugh and they lost Hannity, I mean, I read the papers. I see the ratings go up and they go down and they go up and they go down. So how much did this really affect KMJ? I mean, it seems like you guys are moving along. You know, you got it in autopilot, pretty much. I mean, has it affected you in one way or the other? And I'm talking about the radio station itself.
Well, I think it had some impact, but I think, you know, the good thing about KMJ, there was a lot of people already in place. You know, Jennifer was there, Chris was there, Ray was there, Inga was there. The only person that wasn't there was me. And I was kind of there, right? Because I was the fill-in guy. So it really was easy to put this together. It wasn't like we had to go get, everybody is known, everybody's familiar to the audience. We arranged the shifts so that it's almost the same. I mean, Ray is kind of in the same place. He added an hour. Chris is kind of in the same place.
Inga's in the same place.
Inga's in the same place. So it was as seamless as it could possibly be.
So in the long run, this may be better for KMJ to get rid of Limbaugh and Hannity and Fresno State moves over to ESPN. In the long run, it may work out better.
Well, I don't even think it's necessarily the long run. Although, can I correct the autopilot thing?
Yes,
because
yes.
honestly, I don't think any of us ever were at any point in autopilot. You can't be. You know, that's when people come sneaking up on you and bad things happen, regardless of what syndicated or sports program or whatever you have.
I guess I meant, you know, everything is smooth sailing now. The rough waters may be a little bit behind you. The shift and the moves have already happened.
Yeah.
So you got to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, nobody wants to look in the rearview mirror. You don't go forward.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a good place. You know, only time will tell, and obviously Fresno has to make the decision of what they want moving into the future. But
how
it
do you
feels
look
good.
at it? Okay, ESPN has their listeners. They're going to listen to Fresno State, whatever they're going to listen to, and what is it, 96.7? They have their listeners. They're going to, you know, I think you have those hardcore Limbaugh fans that you can't ever get rid of. They're going to listen to Limbaugh no matter where he is. Am I right about that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think you know, he definitely had an audience. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to discount that. I'd like to think that we are going to make those people make a decision,
Yeah.
because those people still live in our community, and we can do things that Rush cannot do. We can do what Rush can do, but he can't do what we do necessarily. When we've got good local issues, and if you're a member of this community, you may check us out, see what we're up to. And you may say, well, I don't like what they're doing, I'll go back to Rush. But maybe there's something going on here that you can't get from Rush Limbaugh. And I think that's an advantage for us.
Is he still the king of radio, or is that kind of a passing fad now, do you think? What's your
Well,
take on
my
that?
take on Rush is that he is fading. He's still big, right? But he's fading. And his audience is getting older and older. And I think we have a real opportunity to capture younger people. Rush never did that well with females. I think with somebody like Jennifer, we've got a chance to capture people that never even listened to our radio station. You know, we're not gonna go after the hardcore Rush guy, although I think we can get them, because
Yeah.
I think they're still they're Valley people. They want to know what's going on where they live, and you can only take so much of what did Obama do today. That's kind of, I don't miss that. I don't miss Obama for 6 hours a day with Rush and Sean.
Yeah.
And we don't do that.
What's your
right?
take, Jennifer? You
Well,
agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that, because we are in the community. And John once again put it too succinctly for me.
I know, it's hard to follow this guy.
It
I
really
know,
is,
it
but
really
no,
is.
it's true. We can cover all the national issues. Rush is obviously not going to cover what's going on in the Central Valley.
And
we're
see,
closer
you're
to that.
going to pick up women listeners because you have a woman's viewpoint, whether it be abortion, women's issues I'm talking about, contraception, what other women issues are there?
Well, see,
breast cancer?
They're all human issues.
They're all human,
human
but
issues.
you're going to pick up more women listeners. Is that kind of an automatic, do you think, or no?
I don't think that's an assumption you can make. I think it's nice to have a woman's point of view, but you know, KMJ Inga's been there for a while. I mean, the woman's point of view has been there. It's not like it's been something that's been missing.
Right.
But it's kind of fun. I like that we do the show that we do together, because as much as we have similar ideologies, there is the male-female viewpoint on some things. There are some things we just inherently are going to disagree on, just because there is a little bit of a gender gap, I guess.
Exactly.
But it's not just women's issues. It's just the women's perspective on any issue, right? And it's also in the selection of topic issue where she brings in a point of view where she may see something that us guys wouldn't have seen.
Sure.
And it's a good topic that we might not even have done, right?
Yeah, that's where she's a big asset.
But it's also true. I think any issue is just a female perspective on the issue instead of a male perspective on the issue.
Right.
And so, and because, you know, you're thinking about your family and how it affects me, a lot of education, school stuff that it wouldn't occur to me, right?
Yeah.
She's thinking, how does this impact my kids?
Right.
Right.
Right. This show is obviously on tape. I don't know when this is going to run. It may run after the June 4th vote. What's your take on Measure G, the garbage issue? And then we'll end with Jennifer. Quickly, we have about a minute left, or 30 seconds.
I think that it's going to be super low turnout, maybe not even 10%.
Who does that favor?
I think that favors no.
Okay. All right. You?
Yeah, the turnout's going to be really low, and the turnout's going to be whoever the union can get to turn out. So I think that's what you've got.
All right. Jennifer Lipp, John Broeske, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
We
for
really
having me.
appreciate it. It's a pleasure meeting you, Jennifer. John, always good to see you.
Nice to see you too, John.
I have a lot of respect for both of you. Listen to the show, 9 to 11 on KMJ 5 News Radio 580, Monday through Friday. Back with more of Connect with Me tomorrow. Have a great day.
Look at that. Isn't that a great layout? You son of a gun.
This campaign is no good.
No good?
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.